When I first heard Doot Doot by the Welsh band Freur in 1986, I felt like I had discovered a little treasure of a mystery. It was haunting. It came seemingly out of nowhere to those of us in the US who got to hear it on some select radio stations, mainly college or alternative stations. And it just made you think about inspiration, wandering, exploring. It sets a great mood. We're going to check out the song, and then I want to talk about it today in relation to arpeggios, a cool thing you can do, splitting up a chord into separate notes, and how important they are for the mood and the mystery of Doot Doot. I'm Erin, this is Newish Wave. Thank you so much for joining me as we check out this awesome dark wave song, but also look at a little tiny bit of music theory light about what is an arpeggio anyway, and how does it help or contribute to a song that you might be writing or listening to. In case you haven't heard Doot Doot, I'll play just the very beginning because it really wasn't on the radio everywhere. And please consider listening for these things because we're going to look right away at the opening arpeggios. So first, you're going to hear the F chord arpeggios. Three things, right? Three notes. Then we're going to hear 3 for the C, and then we're going to hear 4 in a row for the G. Right? So that's 3, 3, and 4 arpeggiated notes, basically the F, C, and G chord. Just instead of playing all the notes at once, we're playing them one at a time. So listen for that, and then afterwards I'll show it on the keys so you can kind of see what's done there, and we'll talk about why the arpeggios mattered. So what happened in the beginning there, we set the mood for the whole song, and 2 different things were done with the arpeggios. Now often you'll take a chord and just break it up. We hear that kind of thing in songs often, backing up the melody, right? Just harmonizing. I feel like in Freur's case, in Doot Doot, the arpeggios are the melody at this point, right? And later they converse and flow with the melody of the lyrics as well, and with the Doot Doot. But those 3 notes struck differently. Here's what I think is important about it. And then we'll watch the whole thing in a row in the keys and be looking for this. They are not played in order from low to high or high to low. Typically, you'll hear either like 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3 as backup, or you might hear arpeggios all going up like we did in Nowhere Girl, if you saw that video about B-Movie's song where they went. And you know we're going forward because we're moving up. Conversely, it could go down and we could feel like it's getting more slow or gloomy. Okay, none of those happen in Doot Doot. What happens instead is that we go bottom, top, middle, 1, 5, 3, low, high, middle. What that does, in my opinion, is create uncertainty, question, opening up a mystery. What's up in here, right? We do it again right after that. That was also 1, 5, 3, a kind of less typical order for an arpeggio. And then we heard the 4, where we did go high, but then we came right back. Right? So it kind of added, I think, a little uplift in there by doing 3 in a row towards the high, but it did come back down to center us again before playing it again. All right, I'm going to show all of that in a row over on the keys. Take a look at the right hand. You'll see how I'm doing that mixed up order arpeggiating of these 3 chords, and then I'll meet you back here after. So Doot Doot is a beautiful melodic song throughout, and a lot of that is due to the arpeggios, which take us somewhere as a listener, out and back, but not always right back home. So I want to address one more thing, which is the chord structure the progression of the main three chords that we're seeing there. And this also came up in the Nowhere Girl video, that in some situations we have a song where we don't come back to the home chord and to the feeling of resolution. And I think we get a little of that again here. So taking a look at my favorite thing, the chord wheel, we are in the key of C. And you'll notice we're using C, F, and G, not in that order though. So what we did is we first did the F, which was the 4 chord, and then we did the 1, not at the end. And then we did the 5. A 5 is almost like a 1 in that it feels almost like we're back home and everything is making sense. But we never went all the way back. If it would have been, in my opinion, F, G, C, it would have finished. And we don't want that here. We want to keep going with the arpeggios. So if you ever are working on a song and someone says, hey, arpeggiate the chord, it just means pulling it apart into pieces. We can hear the same theme with the chords. But breaking it apart had that wonderful impact. So I would love to hear your experience with this song. I met music buff friends later in life who had never gotten to hear it, and I know it wasn't released everywhere. So what was your experience? You know, I was listening to it back when you could not look up the artist online. You could not assume it would be at the store. Often the best you could do was hover by the radio with your finger near the record button on your cassette player. And that is how I got to listen to Doot Doot again and again and again when I was younger. And now it's a whole lot easier. Thank you for watching. Let me know your experience with this song. I'll talk to you soon.